And a deal to end that war could be on the horizon. That's according to the US president, despite warning of fresh strikes across the country, including on Iran's major fuel hub. Donald Trump saying Washington is in discussions with a, quote, new and more reasonable regime to end operations in Iran. But he warned the US will, quote, completely obliterate all of Iran's electric generating plants, oil wells and Kharg Island if a deal is not reached.
I would only say that we're doing extremely well in that negotiation, but you never know with Iran because we negotiate with them and then we always have to blow them up.
Pakistan, meanwhile, says it stands ready to support US-Iran negotiations in the days ahead, as after it hosted foreign ministers of Saudi Arabia, Egypt and Turkey to look at ways to end the war. Tehran, however, has called American demands for talks excessive and unreasonable.
درخواست‌های بسیار زیاده‌خواهانه و غیر واقع بینانه و غیر منطقی بوده. نشست‌هایی که پاکستان با کشورهای همسایه داره، خب چارچوبی است که خودشون تأسیس کردن. ما در این چارچوب مشارکتی نداشتیم.
Diplomatic efforts continuing despite those strikes. Tehran says power has been restored in the capital after overnight Israeli strikes hit energy facilities, plunging parts of the city into darkness. Israel's military says it was targeting military infrastructure. Iran also confirming the death of another IRGC commander. He's a naval commander, Ali Reza Tangsiri. He was killed in an Israeli airstrike on Bandar Abbas last week. Across the Persian Gulf, an Indian national was killed in an attack on a power and desalination plant. Iran's military has accused Israel of being behind that attack. Abu Dhabi and Bahrain also reporting their aluminium plants have been targeted. In Israel, a fire broke out at an oil refinery in Haifa for the second time in this war. Thick smoke was seen engulfing a large refinery tank. It's unclear if a missile strike or debris from the interception caused this fire. And Nick Harper is covering this story for CNA Live from Washington, D.C. Nick, Donald Trump touting progress in negotiations, but still warning that strikes could be on the cards.
Well, that's right, Wesu. And really, we are now into another week where we're trying to understand what Donald Trump wants and what he means in those contradictory, mixed messages that he's continuing to put out. Because he's pushing in two directions at the same time. Saying that the United States is doing well with diplomacy, saying that he wants to push forward with the idea of a peaceful resolution, but also saying that the US is standing by and ready to escalate this conflict even further. And I think this was highlighted in his latest social media post put out about 40 minutes ago, in which he called those discussions serious. He said that great progress had been made with Iran, but also warning that if a deal was not reached shortly and if the Strait of Hormuz was not reopened immediately, the US would be looking to completely obliterate Iran's electrical generating plants, its oil wells and Kharg Island. And the problem is, for many allies in the region, they are seeing pushback and retaliatory strikes from Iran continuing, with Iran now threatening brand new civilian targets within the region, suggesting that it will be going after American universities that are hosted by other countries right throughout the region. There's about 4,500 American citizens who are studying in the Middle East and North Africa. And Iran now saying that any of the places that they study in any of the foreign countries in the Middle East now become, for Iran, legitimate targets in this ever-widening conflict. So Donald Trump, with those messages, with those threats, but Iran making it very clear that it is ready as well to strike extra new targets within the region and widen this conflict even further.
We might look for clarity beyond what Mr. Trump says, which is what is actually happening. And we do have reports, we've had them for days now, of thousands more being deployed in addition to thousands already stationed in the Middle East.
That's right. We've seen that increase that build-up, including over the weekend with about 3,500 US personnel, the first contingent of them being deployed to the region, as well as paratroopers also being sent in. In total, it takes us to about 50,000 US troops. Now, there have been some comparisons that that's far lower than other conflicts of recent years. If we look at the Israel-Gaza conflict, there was about 300,000 Israeli troops positioned there for the Gaza conflict, and the US sent 250,000 troops for the second invasion of Iraq. So far fewer, but even those numbers are worrying, not just allies in the region, but also Americans back at home, because more US personnel in the region increases the possibility of US lives being put at risk. We've already seen oil prices rise. The worry is that if the US sends ground troops in, or if it destroys oil facilities on Kharg Island, a major export hub for Iran, that will only push prices higher as well. And then there is Iran threatening that it will punish regional partners forever if the US sends in ground troops. There is that widening potential of this conflict. All of it very much worrying the US and regional allies, the possibility of more US troops being sent to the region, but also those troops actually entering Iran and becoming boots on the ground.
Oh, thanks for that. Nick Harper there live for CNA from Washington, D.C.